unorthodox life and had a very unusual path that continues on through the past year where I've spent at MTV in New York. I was raised in Toronto, Canada. I'm Canadian. And very fortunate for me, did not experience segregation. I'm lucky that I came from a country that has embraced multiculturalism. We legalized gay marriage long before, certain states in this country did.
Yeah, we just did 30 days ago.
No, I know, I know. And I was very lucky that, my parents, you weren't allowed to tell racist jokes in my home because my mother felt that it was a way of condoning racism, even if everybody was laughing and nobody really took it seriously. Their best friends growing up were a gay male couple that they still are friends with today. So there was an openness and an embracing of people from all walks of life. It didn't matter if you were a human being, and if you had something great to say and you were a good person, you were allowed in the Fitzgerald home. The reason my path was incredibly unorthodox is that around the age of 16, I was just failing miserably in school. I mean, I had been in 3 high schools at that point. I didn't want to go. I was uninspired. I felt like teachers didn't get me. I had the opportunity to go to England in the summer of my 16th year with a good friend of mine who was from there, and loved the country so much and loved traveling and seeing how other people lived. And I called home about 2 weeks before I was due to come back and try and start school, the 4th high school. I said, I really want to move here, and I really want you guys to let me drop out of school and start my life. And they did. And the reason they did, and I'll back up a little bit, is from the age of 12, I decided that I wanted to work. So most kids were taking summers off. I decided that I wanted to work and see what that was like and earn my own money. And I did. And I almost feel like I knew that I was going to leave home and leave Canada early, and I was sort of on some level preparing myself to know how to show up to work every day and, budget my money and open a bank account. And these were skills that I kind of, just real basic stuff, but I kind of learned at the age of 6. By the time I went to England at 16, kind of had a handle on and felt that I was ready to take on the world. And I'm really thankful to my parents that they saw who I was and saw that I was kind of a different animal and that school wasn't necessarily the course for me, and I'm going to totally contradict myself because right now I'm developing a show at MTV that's all about getting kids back in school because it have dropped out. I'm not advocating that, I'm just saying that was the right path for me. But the point of my telling you this story is that I had a gut and an instinct that that was the right path for me, and I took it. And it was a big risk, and I went to England on my own at 16, and lived in a, I don't know if you guys know what a squat is, but I got there, I lived in a squat in a really horrible part of London, and was the happiest I'd ever been because I was out living my life. And I kind of pulled it together and got my first job, my first real full-time job, and then I got a job at the BBC, which is, a big network over there, and started my career in television. And I just kept going, and I just sort of had this gut that it was where I was supposed to be, and that I would find my way. And I did. And I sort of spent a few years at BBC, kind of had my fill of London, and thought, all right, what's next? What's next? I know that I'm maxed out here. What do I do? How do I continue this path that I'm on, but I don't know where to go? And I thought, well, where do most people go to build their career in entertainment? They go to Hollywood. All right, so here we go again. I've got no work visa. I don't know anybody there. I have about $2,000 in my pocket, no car, which you need in LA. All right, I'll go. So off I went. At this point I was 21 or 22, I think. Landed there, kind of flailed around for a bit, slept on people's floors, got my first job working for a director. Then a really amazing guy who was one of the most respected producers in Hollywood took a chance on me, got me my work visa, I got my social security card. I was like, all right, I'm on my way. Cut to, just kind of working my way up the ladder, walking through doors as they opened, and again, paying attention to my instincts and my gut that I don't know what this door is going to look like on the other side, but it's an opportunity that's presenting itself, and I'll figure it out. Fake it till you make it. And by the way, I read something recently that some of the most successful people in the world, including Hillary Clinton, you name it, Bill Gates, they all say that they had no idea what they were doing, and they just faked it and pretended they did, and then they figured it out. And you just sort of follow that path and don't let fear get in the way of taking an opportunity. Because I'll tell you, I got to MTV a year ago, and I'm like, I've never worked at a network. I have no idea what I'm doing. And it's been the most joyous ride of my life. So I guess this is my very long-winded way of saying that if I was to top line my journey, it's to not let fear stand in your way of something that you just kind of feel might be an interesting adventure, stroke journey, stroke path. Go for it. If it thrills you and it feels like something that will enhance your life and it's tapping into something that you're passionate about, go for it. You will figure it out. And if you don't, then life has a way of steering you on the path that you're supposed to go on. But don't turn down opportunities because of fear. It's like you'll regret it for the rest of your life, I promise you, and you'll be okay. I don't believe in failure. I believe that everything teaches you something, and you will get steered on the path that you're supposed to go on. And I just keep following the doors as they open. And every time I do, I'm surprised at what's behind it. And it doesn't always look like I think it's going to, but life is kind of magical and amazing. And I bet the fact that all you guys are here in a leadership program tells me that some of this is going to resonate, and probably those opportunities may be opening up for you already. Go for it. Life is to be lived. It doesn't matter if your path looks like anybody else's. I'm not married. I don't have kids. I'm like, you know, having these crazy adventures, but that's who I am, and I pay attention to that, and I'm trying to be the most authentic version of myself. And I don't let other people define my choices, and here I am. I'm doing all right. So it's pretty awesome. So those, I mean, I think I don't know how much that ties into leadership, but I think if you guys find yourself in leadership roles, those are really great tenets by which to live and to pass on to people who end up working for you, or people that you work with, your friends. Encourage them to be the most authentic version of themselves, and just go for it. Just take life by the balls, go for it. And it's awesome, you know, so that's what I would say.
Thank you, Shannon. I would have to say that is leadership. That is leadership. Authenticity is key to leadership, and looking at fear and just saying, okay, you're there, I'll deal with you, but I'm moving on to this, another. Yes, did you?
After you moved to California, like how long did it take you to get a job, like when you first got there?
It wasn't too long before I got the first job. It was like I was just an assistant to a director, but it was probably about 6 months after that I got my first real position. And I'm at the time we didn't have email, like this is 10 years ago, believe it or not. So I wrote letters. I picked up an industry directory that listed every production company in Hollywood, and I wrote letters and I mailed them, and I got a lot. I just was like, this is who I am, this is what I want to do. I don't have a lot of experience, but this is what I bring to the table, focused on the positive. And I got a lot of responses back, and this guy, Greg Feinberg, who won an Oscar and you know, is now producing True Blood, that's his sort of current baby, took a chance on me, and that changed everything. So, but I really went after it. I didn't sit back. I was really aggressive about making sure people knew that I was, you know, in town and wanted to do something. So, you know, thank God for Greg Feinberg.